Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about personal liability insurance. So under personal liability insurance, there are coverages that a typical individual will already have in some capacity. First of all, a person often has auto insurance. And if you have auto insurance, there is liability coverage associated with auto accidents. That's part of that policy, and that's been discussed in one of the prior videos I made. Homeowners insurance also has a certain amount of personal liability coverage as it pertains to accidents occurring on the property, or in some cases, even if you walked your dog to a park and the dog bit somebody at the park, often your homeowners insurance policy would cover that as well. So there is some liability coverage through your homeowners policy, liability coverage through your auto insurance policy. But there could be other things that could be um, still a liability that would not be covered by those. And some significant factors to consider would be your earning power and also your net worth. And both of those could be essentially affected by a liability judgment. So if you were sued and judged to be liable for something that occurred, they could basically they could take some of your wages. So going after your earning power, they could take some of your assets. And so basically, as you have sort of more earnings and more assets to be taken, then it starts to make more and more and more sense to protect those through various forms of liability insurance. So that brings us to the idea of a personal liability policy. So you could buy a personal liability policy that would basically cover the liability you could incur pretty much wherever you are, and be much more broad than just the personal auto insurance or the homeowners insurance. Now, that brings us to the topic of a personal liability umbrella. So a personal liability umbrella basically covers, as the term umbrella suggests, it covers more. And so basically, this is going to cover more above and beyond the standard auto insurance policy, the standard homeowners policy. Now, kind of what this is going to do is this is going to be additional coverage that's going to kick in when those other liability limits are exceeded. But as a component of that, typically an umbrella policy will require higher auto and homeowners liability coverage. So if the standard property damage liability coverage for an auto insurance policy is, say, $100,000, to purchase a personal liability umbrella, they may require that you have an auto insurance policy that covers up to $300,000 of property damage. And then the personal liability umbrella would cover above that. And so what that would mean that if you had a significant event in which you somehow managed to cause property damage of $1 million, basically with your automobile somehow, some way, then basically that $300,000 of your auto insurance liability coverage kicks in. And then after that, the personal liability umbrella would be kicking in as well. So oftentimes the personal liability umbrella will require that you boost your homeowners policies. The liability coverage is more and the auto insurance coverage is more, but then it covers on top of those. And then it may also cover legal defense in the event that you are sued due to a liability issue and so forth. Now, the premiums for a personal liability umbrella are going to be linked to the risk. So if you're in certain types of professions where you're more likely to be sued individually, that can put you at higher risk. If you are you've multiple homes or things like that, again, higher risks. So depending on what kind of risks you have will affect the cost. But generally, the higher the risk, the higher the premium is going to be, which is not all that surprising. So again, basically what happens with that personal liability umbrella is it sort of sits on top of your baseline homeowners insurance policy and auto insurance policy, requires you to boost those up, and then it covers more in the event that you are sued. And the reason why that is significant is if a typical homeowners policy only covered, say, $100,000 of bodily injury, well, if somebody was severely injured on your property, you could blow through that $100,000 super fast with medical bills and hospitalizations and everything else. And so that's not necessarily going to be adequate. And so by first boosting the homeowners policy and then putting an umbrella on top of it, you get added protection in the event that something like that occurs. Okay, hopefully this video has been helpful. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.